Hey everyone, welcome to the Family First Life Relentless podcast. As always, my name is Alondra and I am super excited for you guys to hear who we have today in the studio. Before we go into introducing our special guest today, I just want to remind everyone to make sure that you guys like and comment below your favorite part of this video, and make sure you guys go ahead and turn on your post notifications and subscribe to our channel so you guys get notified every time we put out content out for you guys. This podcast is meant to help you guys in and out of the field, and if you guys are someone who is looking to get into the insurance industry, you guys can see how this has changed the lives of many people from different backgrounds, and how you can see how they're having so much success with the system here we have at FFL. Without further ado, I want to introduce our special guest that we have today. So we have Matthew Garza. We have Juan Herrera.
Hello.
And we have Marco Trujillo. These guys came in and absolutely crushed it. These guys were already at a previous experience. They were already working leads. Marco came on board, and these guys just came over and just absolutely demolished. So if you guys haven't already, make sure you have your pen and paper. And if you guys can relate to these guys, they'll go ahead and show their phone number so you guys can know where to reach these guys. So without further ado, Marco, thanks for coming on today. I'm super excited for you to share with these guys how you were able to bring these on. So if you could share a little bit about how you got Juan and Matt over with you, we'd love to hear.
Absolutely. First of all, thanks for having us, Alondra, and the whole Relentless team. So real quick, me and Juan used to work together, 2016? Like it was like 2016. So I was 19, you were 18? You had just turned 18?
Just turned 18, yeah.
So Juan went to school. I'm from a town called McFarland, where Matt's from. And Juan went to school with my sister. In Delano. So my sister referred me to Juan and said, this dude is sharp. You should recruit him. So I gave Juan's number to my upline at the other company, and we followed up for this guy forever. And a funny story, he had an objection on why he couldn't come on board. He would always say, I got to go to prom first. And after prom, I'm going to come on board. And sure enough, after prom, we recruited Juan. He came on board, and we did some things over there. And then he left, though. Juan left my team. I was brokenhearted, right? I wanted to quit that day. He left the team. He quit because he wasn't making any money over there, and he was going through it. He had a car payment and bills, and just like everybody else, he left, right? And I was all upset about it. But he left, and for a couple of years, and went on and do his own thing. And what'd you do for that time period? You went on to do several different things, right? And then you got back into insurance and went up?
Yeah, so when I left, the previous experience with insurance, I had, after that experience, I'd say I had a really, really bad taste in my mouth. I said, you know what, I want nothing to do with insurance, because, to be honest with you, it's kind of like a facade I was putting on. I would take all these pictures, I would go to all these meetings, I would put on the front that I would make money, but in reality, I was just, making no money, right? And it got to the point where I couldn't stick around, and I had to, venture off and try other things. I dabbled a bit in the stock market, Forex market, did a little bit of that, a lot of risk with that. But I'm going to be honest with you, I tried different things, but I never came across something that paid like insurance did. So got back into insurance, started working leads, and, that's where everything changed for me, is when I understood the power of working leads.
So you started working leads, and I know Matt, so real quick we'll come back right to that because it all comes in. It works in together. Matt, you started with a different company than both of us, right? You were at another company. How'd you get recruited into the industry?
So I was actually recruited by one of my high school friends. We used to play ball together. We were really good friends. But yeah, he brought me in. It was kind of a funny story. He just called me up and said, "Hey, bro, I'm taking you to this open house." I was like, "What are you talking about? Like for a school open house? Like, you know how schools had open houses and stuff?"
Yeah.
I was like, "You taking me to an open house for school? Like, what's going on, bro?" He was like, "Nah, just be ready. I'm gonna pick you up at 7, and I'm gonna take you to this open house." And I trusted him. He was my boy. So I was like, cool. Just dress sharp. Okay, cool. he picked me up, and I went down to the meeting, and that's how I got into the industry.
And how did you do over there? What was your experience like? Like, first of all, like, what'd you think? Did you get like super excited? You're like, oh, I'm gonna be rich. Like, is that what you thought initially when you signed up, or like, what made you sign up? Because I mean, what was it that made you want to get started? Was it just, oh, I'm gonna support my friend, or like, they painted a big picture for you that you could achieve something, or like, what was it for you?
Yeah, for me, it was more just, at the time I was a lifeguard. So I was, in the summers, I was always being a lifeguard.
Yeah.
At the time, it was like, you know what, let me do this part-time, because I was going to school too.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, you know what, let me come in here and make some money. Because when they break down the comp, they show you, hey, you can make some really good money doing this part-time, make a couple sales a week. Okay, perfect. So I was like, you know what, let me come in here and do this thing part-time. Eventually, I went in full-time. Eventually, I dropped school, and I started doing the business full-time, and it was, I don't want to say it was a horrible decision, but now, long story short, with the previous company, it was just horrible. It was horrible. I wasn't making any money.
What kind of leads were you running there?
Working a lot. It's family, friends.
So there's no leads?
0.
And what was your comp?
My comp, I started at a 30. So I started at a 30, and I worked my way up to a 45, doing what's called doing what Paul McLean calls mauling.
Yeah, mauling. Going to the mall and then, hey, you look sharp, dude. Quick story. One time there was this guy. He was in like gym attire, wearing shorts and everything, and I was like, hey, bro, you look sharp. And he's like, no, I don't. And I just laughed, and I just didn't even know what to say. And it was crazy. But so you didn't make any money over there, right? Like, it wasn't nothing crazy.
I made 0. I made 0.
No, like, did you get a check? Did you at least get a tell me you got a check?
Of course, I made a check, but the whole 14 months I was there, it's just embarrassing.
Right. Right. And
then I don't want to talk about it, bro.
Right. So then Juan picked you up from there, right? Because Juan went independent with a different company, not FFL, right? You went there and you got a higher comp. You started running leads in a different system, right? And started doing better there, correct, right?
Correct.
And then from there, I made the decision to leave the FFL. I met with Juan right before I made the decision to leave with FFL. And because I was already thinking about coming over here. And I remember I talked to him, we talked and everything, and I was kind of figuring out what he was doing, how everything was working out with him. And then I was like, that's cool. And then I obviously reached out to you guys and everything, and that made a lot more sense. So, that's just kind of how I came over here. And then Juan was like, I talked to him about FFL. We talked, and we had one conversation, but nothing happened from it. But then I told you, remember, we started talking, and what was it? What was it that made you want to go for? Because you were independent, you had a high comp, right? And you were running leads, but what was the difference from you being where you were to making that transition and moving all your contracts through FFL?
Honestly, I'm a big people person, so I love being in an atmosphere and a culture where there's more people that are winning, where it's not just me or it's not a small group of people. So that's something that me and Matt didn't have. I mean, we were making money, we were running appointments, but we kind of felt a little lonely. It kind of, that saying, it's lonely at the top, right? I mean, we were making money. We saw how wonderful it was to, go from working your friends and family to now working leads, right? And having more of a predictable schedule and income. The biggest thing for me was the culture. I saw this thing coming before you made the move. I knew, okay, if Marco makes the move, he's going to be the catalyst to something big. And I want to make sure I position myself with him, alongside him, to take, part of that growth. So it was more of, being in a culture where not just, I could win, but, plugging people in like Matt, and then just it being a culture and an atmosphere you just can't comprehend unless you're a part of it. And that's exactly what we got out of it. So that was my biggest thing, is just plugging into an ecosystem where it's not just a few people winning, it's plenty of people winning.
Right. So because one thing is, I hear a lot of people used to say things like, oh, over there when you go with FFL, like there's no support, you're by yourself, because traditional independent companies, it's kind of like that. That's kind of like how you guys were, right? That's what you guys always say, that there wasn't as much support. There wasn't a group, like a system, a plug-in environment, ecosystem, like you just said.
Right.
But here, FFL, it has all that. You have the high contracts. You have the daily pay. You have everything about being independent, but you also have that winning culture, that winning environment, and you have all the relationships with your peers that as well.
And you know what's rare is the fact that we have such a good culture here, but not, you don't see people stepping on people's necks trying to get to the top, or, none of that, which you see a lot of in other companies, right?
Yeah.
Just because it's such a competitive environment where it just gets to a point where it's just too much. Here, it's like everyone's a family here, man. Family first life. Everyone comes together, help each other out. So I think that's what's been a huge game changer for me.
Yeah. What about you, man? What's the biggest difference from where you were at to where you're at now? Obviously, your numbers is the biggest difference, but what's the reason for that change in your numbers? Because your production has just jumped up compared to where you were at before.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. So for me, I would say the biggest difference for me is just the leadership. It's two things for me. It's number one, leadership, and number two, it's system. So for me, when you can come in here, for example, when you can come in an office and when you have people like Josh and Alondra who have made over $100,000 in a month, and when you have people like you and you just have top producers, when you can be around that in an environment, in an office, it just rubs off on you. So Juan kind of hit on how before we were used to be independent, and we had nobody, dude. It was just us. It was just, it kind of sucked.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. It's because when you can be around people that are like-minded, that are doing the same thing as you, where you can improve, and everybody's just getting better and everybody's winning, it's just fun. It makes it fun.
It's fun.
And when you're by yourself, it's hard. You're gonna get the job done and you're gonna do it. But when you have a team and you're killing it, you can come in here and win.
Right.
And so the biggest thing is leadership, and then you got Sean, Mike. And for me, the biggest thing was YouTube.
Right.
In the beginning,
Yep.
dude, I'm trained by YouTube. When people say they have no leadership, and when people say, hey, I don't have nobody to train me, it's the biggest excuse ever.
Right.
I was trained by YouTube. In the beginning, yeah, I used to hear you and Patino say, hey, I used to stay up till, whatever time in the morning. Dude, when I was in the beginning, I just binge watch YouTube videos, and I was up just like you guys. And I just felt this something boil in me when I saw these videos. I was like, dude, FFL is where it's at. Let's
Right.
make the jump. Me and Juan were kind of debating. We were like, okay, do you want to make the jump? And it was just let's go all in, because it makes so much sense. So it's leadership, and number two is just system, dude. It's so simple. Come in here and make your dials, book your appointments, and go see your people. That's it, dude. And if you can do that consistently with
The biggest challenge here is being consistent, right? Because think about this. How easy is it to go write 10 grand here in FFL?
It's not hard.
You could do that in a day.
You could do it in a
You could do it in a day. And you could do it in an appointment, but let's just say you could do it in a day or 2 days. Let's say you do it in 2 run days, right? All right, most people, and especially our group, we have a really young group, right?
Yes.
Studs.
Yeah, but you make 10 grand in 1 to 2 days. Think about it. Most people have never made that money in their life. So the challenge isn't like, well, you don't get paid. It's like you got paid so much. Now it's like you got all this time. And the challenge is for people to stay consistent. So if you can stay consistent and work and run your appointments and keep your activity, whether you write 10 grand or not. I heard Andrew say that when he would write 10 grand like clockwork, because he would just act like he never wrote it, and he would just continue to go and go and go and go and do it. And I think that is what separates people here versus other companies. At other companies, I see people like they hit their goal and then they kind of just settle. Like if they hit their goal really early that month, they're done, right? Like if they make enough to cover their bills right away, it's the rest of the month is kind of like chill mode. They go on vacation or they go to Disneyland, right? Like Andrew always says. But over here, the culture is like you got to consistently keep on going and going and going. And that's why FFL agents, if you compare them to other agents and other companies, you like side by side, which ones make more money over here, because our expectations are that much better, that much higher, and our environment is so great there's infinite amount of training. I think if you started watching training today, all the YouTube trainings on FFL, if you started watching them today, you'd die before they finish because there's just so much content, and it's all there. So
and that's the biggest thing for me is just the support. So before we worked leads, and Juan can attest to this because Juan knows my numbers before, but dude, my numbers were horrible. My biggest month was like submit was like 10,000.
Submit, not even issue.
Submit, and everything didn't even get placed that month. So I made pennies, but I was working leads.
Right.
So the biggest difference is you can come in here and you have support. You got the YouTube videos, and you're in an environment where you can kill it, and you can come in here and just get tips.
Hey,
And you can get
Matt, what was the difference though? Because touch on that. So you were already working leads. Why do you think you only submitted 10?
Hit on their belief.
Oh yeah, and that's the biggest thing too, is I submitted 10,000 because kind of like Juan said, my belief was just so super low.
I bet you thought 10 grand in a month was a lot, huh?
Oh
Yes.
my gosh, I couldn't even tell you, dude. 10 grand for me, that was the biggest month I've ever had, and I was just like,
I'm killing it.
I'm doing great. I'm doing better than I've ever done. But in reality, when you see what people are actually doing, it's nothing. Bro, it's nothing. So and the biggest thing is belief. The biggest thing is belief, because when you come in here and you submit business, and when you can see deposits coming to your account, something just happens. Something just happens
clicks,
to
huh?
your belief.
It clicks.
Absolutely. And something happens to your energy.
Yeah.
Like when you get results, when you put in the work and results follow, dude, something just happens. Your belief goes up, your energy goes up, and you want to come to work. It gets exciting, and it just gets fun. And you want to come in and double the next month.
Right.
You know, so it's like.
And also, too, I think what it was for you was, it has to do with belief. But so you said before, it was you two. You guys were doing decent, but you guys were by yourselves, right?
Mm-hmm.
You guys were by yourselves. So you weren't part of an environment that expected more, that you can, I don't want to say compare yourself, but there's higher expectations from your peers, that if you're naturally a competitor, which most people that are in sales are kind of that way, they're competitors. So if you see other people within the same organization you're a part of doing numbers that are much higher than what you're doing, you're going to want to step up to that level, step up to that plate. So whatever it is that you got to do, whether it be work harder, make more calls, buy more leads, you're going to do that. And therefore your numbers just go up. And I think that's kind of probably what happened with you.
Absolutely.
Right.
And it's so fun, dude. When you can come in here and when you have guys that are killing it, and you can compete, and you guys, I hear their dials and they hear my dials, and hey, how much appointments are you at? I'm at 7. I'm at 4. Okay, let's go. Let's see if we can get more. You know what I mean? And then you look at numbers, and it's just competing. And if you're like me, I used to be an athlete my whole life, dude. So I love competing. I'm very competitive, just naturally.
Yeah.
I'm more of a silent competitor. I'm not gonna tell you like, dude, I want to smoke you, but in my head, I want to smoke you.
Right.
You know.
That's good.
So I'm real competitive, and this environment is everything for me. It's everything for me.
Yeah, we got bells in the office, so every time an agent books an appointment, you just hear the bells go off, and when somebody's bell goes off, everybody starts like, like it's crazy what we got going on right here, like a boiler room. But Juan,
I love it. It's awesome.
What do you see a factor in that has helped your because you're growing an agency, you're building an agency, and you guys are growing really, really fast. What do you think is a key factor that's allowing you to build here in FFL? What do you think is helping you out a lot?
Leverage. Like, that's, if I could sum everything up, the word leverage. There's so many people here winning in this company that I could leverage. I mean, let's just say if I come across someone that's, let's just say, a single mom, right? Obviously, I can't really relate to that person, but I could leverage someone in the company, right, to make that person come on board. So the biggest game changer for me has been leverage. Being able to leverage other people to grow my business, being able to leverage other trainings, to help my organization has been big. And I know you could attest to this too, Marco, but before and, the previous experience, we had to do a lot of like micromanaging and kind of reviving people every other week. They would quit.
CPR.
There you go, giving them CPR. But here, you plug people in, they training's there. There's no excuses on why you should not be making $20,000 in a month. You know, it's even got to a point where I don't even like to look at my bank account. I just stack it, stack.
Right. Yeah. And that's what's crazy about being with FFL. That what's all types of people from all type walks of life are coming in here and killing it. And you can tell just by looking at the Family First Life USA YouTube channel, and pretty soon it's going to be our channel. It's going to be just the same way. But the FFL USA channel, it trips me out to see all the different types of people that come in and have the same exact result. Like, dude, all these people are killing it, writing 40, 50K a month, 40, 50K a month, 40, 50K a month. One could be a barber. One could be a musician. They can come from the industry. They cannot come from the industry. And if you don't come from insurance, it doesn't matter. We got more people that don't come. I honestly feel like if you don't come from insurance at all, it's probably going to be, I don't want to say easier for you, but you don't have to unlearn a bunch of different processes and things that you used to do before in order for you to come in here and start killing it. You just got to learn what to do. You got to learn the steps. Whereas if you come from a different experience, you have habits and things of that ways that you used to run your business, and maybe your schedule was different. Maybe you didn't work as hard at your last company because there was no expectations over there. So you got to unlearn those things and pick up the new habits over here that are the ways that are going to help you get better. But that's kind of one of the things that I see for new people that can come in and kill it. Like, you can move very, very, very fast. How many stories do you see? Brand new person writes 30, 40, 50K their first month. Never worked leads, never been in insurance. You see it all the time.
Can I share a story real quick? So I started working with these two sisters, Maggie and Crystal, and they came from a previous experience. And
I remember them.
I'm getting chills right now just thinking about it. But when she started, she had like less than, I think it was like $50 in her bank account. Within 2 weeks of being here with Family First Life, she has like over $6,000 in her bank account.
And she's part-time.
She's part-time, and she has kids. She's a, you know, she doesn't have time to waste like she did before in the other company. So the fact that she plugs in and she's making money so fast at that rate, dude, sometimes I gotta really stop and think and admire, what we really got going on. I actually have gratitude because, dude, I looked at my bank account the other day, and I know a lot of people, I know you could attest for this, but we're making ridiculous money here, And I asked you this question too the other day, like, do you see yourself doing anything else besides insurance, working here with Family First Life? Because I don't.
Right.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It is crazy.
I'm super excited. Alondra, anything you want to ask?
Yeah, guys, I want you guys, if you guys could touch a little bit on like your in-home. Go a little bit about, because you guys are selling now at a high pace, and I'd like for Juan, if you can share with us, some in-home tips that you really like. Your closing is amazing. So if you could share some of those stuff with us.
Yeah, I would say the biggest thing for me in the home is having confidence. Having a really high level of confidence. I always tell my new agents, think about if you were going to go see a doctor, right, and you had a condition. And the doctor gives you a ton of different options, and he puts the ball in your court, and he tells you, hey, what medication do you want to take? What treatment do you want to take? Obviously, you're going to feel very uncomfortable.
That's weird.
It's weird, right? So I always tell my people, you got to have control. You got to have confidence. You got to go in there and know what you're doing, right? Because people need to be led. That's all they want. They want someone to follow. So for me, I would say having confidence, laying the foundation in the very beginning has been a really big game changer for me.
What do you mean by that? Like explain, like if I'm a brand new agent, I don't understand that. What does that mean? Laying the foundation.
Laying the foundation is letting them know who you are, what you're there to do. So every time I sit with people, I always tell them, hey, I'm a senior field underwriter. I work with a lot of different companies that are A-rated companies. My job is to see what company is going to give you the most benefits for the lowest rate here in the state of California. Got to make sure that it's not a single penny over your budget. And also when it comes to insurance, it's not a one-size-fits-all deal. You got certain companies that are a lot more stricter with people that have heart problems. You got other companies that are a lot more stricter with people who have, diabetic problems. Every company underwrites differently. So my job here today is to see which one of these companies is going to give you the most benefits for the lowest rate here in the state. And just to make it very clear, I'm not Jake from State Farm. I get paid regardless. I'm just here to help you out. So I always lay that foundation with people, and it just sets it up.
That's solid, dude.
Yeah, it just sets it up. If I lay the good foundation, I already know within the first 5 to 10 minutes I'm going to make a sell or not. to be
That
honest
kind of
with you.
filters the person that's pretty serious about buying insurance or not, right? Because if they're not serious, they're gonna be like, "Nah, I'm not getting anything right. I'm not buying anything." So you're on to the next.
Yeah.
You're not gonna waste your time, right?
And I feel like a lot of new agents too, they kind of feel nervous. They feel nervous to take control. But you also have to understand, if you're new, they don't know how much you know. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? So you just gotta have confidence and actually, lead the person, to make that sale.
Got it. Cool.
Now, Juan, I love because I think that one of the hardest part of being an agent is getting the check, right?
The check.
The banking information. That's like the hardest part. You've figured out a way that works amazing for you, and it's helping your agents. And I'd love for you to share how you ensure that you never get any kickback when it comes to, I need your routing number, I need your account number. Like, what do you do? What steps do you take?
So this is gold. So if you're watching this video, take out a pen and paper because this is going to make you a ton of money, I promise you. But when it comes to the banking, so when I sit with the client and they've already agreed on an amount and I'm doing the application and it comes to that section where I got to ask them for that bank account information, right? I know most agents are very straightforward, like, hey, I'm going to need a voided check, right? Or, hey, you know what's your account number? I go about things a lot differently. I tell them, hey, I got to find out that the bank that you're with is a partner with this insurance company because, unfortunately, some insurance companies just don't work with certain banks. So who did you say you bank with again? So they'll tell me their bank.
Wells
right?
Fargo.
So let's just say, the client tells me Wells Fargo. What I'll do is I'll have my iPad open, right? And a lot of people don't know that routing numbers are public information, right? So what I'll do is I'll Google search Wells Fargo routing number in Kern County, LA County, Texas,
Wherever you're working?
Wherever I'm working, right? And then I'll tell them, okay, sir, ma'am, Marco, whoever I'm sitting with, I tell them, we got to make sure that, everything is legitimate because we have been experiencing a high volume of fraud lately. I just need to verify that the routing number we have here on file for your bank is accurate. And what I'll do is I'll copy and paste that number into the e-application. And when you paste it in the e-application, it's going to generate the bank's name.
Yep.
So I'll turn my iPad over. You got to make sure you close that routing number tab, right?
Yeah,
But I'll turn my iPad over and
Yeah.
I need you to verify that this is the correct info. Some people will glance at it and say yes. Other people will actually go get up and get their checkbook. For the people that say, yeah, that looks correct, I tell them, no, I need you to confirm this because we have been experiencing high volume of fraud lately.
Mm-hmm.
So they'll go and they'll go get their checkbook, or in some cases, I even make people call the bank and get the information. So once they verify that the routing number is correct, they're kind of like amused. They're like, yeah, that's correct. So as soon as I get that reaction from them, which is you're going to get it every single time, I nonchalantly ask them, now what's your account number? I don't make it weird. I don't even look at them. I'm looking down at my iPad and I say, what's your account number? And they give it to me every single time.
Yeah, that works. I use it all the time now.
Yeah, it works, right?
Yeah, I use it all the time.
It's crazy. And you just came off a really big submit week, right? You had your biggest week with FFL, right?
Yeah.
What did you submit?
Close to like 20,000. My biggest day was actually 11,000. So I was really, really excited.
Walk us through, what was your schedule like that week? What did you spend on leads? What kind of leads did you work? Did you travel local? Break down that whole week down for us.
So what I do is I have a little strategy in place. Is I actually pick 3 different counties that I work here locally because you never want to stay in your backyard for a long period of time. So what I'll do is I'll just rotate within those 3 counties, and I'm just constantly buying leads in those 3 counties.
And how far is it from your house, though? Because, it's not – I know where you run. It's not – it's not like 10 minutes away either.
Oh, no, I'll drive at least an hour, 45 minutes, if not an hour, 2 hours. I go to Fresno a lot. I'm actually getting ready to drive 5 hours tomorrow morning to go run out there in Santa Rosa, California. So
I seen there's good leads right there right now.
Oh,
I
yeah.
was looking at it.
So what kind of leads are you working?
Instant internet life leads, for sure. 100%.
Anything else?
Occasionally I'll work a bit Facebook, final expense. I'm also getting some mailers in, but for me, the highest conversion on any leads I've ever worked, and also, just like you mentioned, I worked leads before with Family First Life. It's instant internet life leads. It's just a completely game changer. There's no other leads that I've worked that are bringing me that much AP back, that much annualized premium back.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think those are just so good? Any idea?
I would say because FFL is amazing and they got something going on with those leads. They're probably asking them more questions than, the regular leads that I was used to buying. And before, me and Matt would just work, a bunch of final expense. So that means you're not sitting with anyone that's younger than the age of 50. Here, we're getting a mix of everything. So we're sitting with the people in their 30s, that have a family and need insurance. we're not just sitting with seniors. So I think that's what's been a big game changer.
It's giving you a little bit of mix of both.
Yeah.
Well, guys, you guys have been absolutely crushing it. I'd love before we end, I want to hear what goals do you guys have here at FFL? You know, it's your first year. You know, we want to know with you and Matt what are your guys' personal goals and what are some of your business goals that you guys have. Let's start with you, Juan.
So my goals is I actually want to get to a point where I want to build a machine. I want to have a really, really big agency. And I know me and Mark will talk about this a lot. And it's not a matter of if, it's just a matter of when. And I want to get to a point where my agency is doing no less than $2 million a month.
By the end of the year?
That's the goal.
I love it. What about your personal?
My personal is I want to get to a point as well. You know, obviously I don't want to spend a whole time, amount of time in the field, but I want to no less than $20,000 to $30,000 while I'm still actively building an agency is my goal.
I love it. Perfect. That's the key to success, according to Sean Mike. What about you, Matt?
Yeah, and for me, it's funny. My goal in the beginning was to just make 6 figures. That's it. It was just to make $100,000. Now that obviously, you can come in and make way more than that, and I realize that, my goal is to do Hall of Fame.
What is that? What is Hall of Fame for those who don't know?
Hall of Fame is doing $400,000 in a 12-month period issue paid. So it's $400K issue paid.
Are you on track?
I am not on track.
Are you gonna get on track?
I'm gonna get back on track. It's $33,000 issue paid a month. So I'm like a month off. I'm like a month behind. So we're gonna get back on it, and the goal is Hall of Fame.
Can I hit on something real quick before you close out, Alondra?
Yeah.
So Matt actually went full-time in insurance before I even started working with him. So just imagine that, 30% comp, not really making any money. He was full-time doing that. Matt's family, his dad, mom, uncle, they're teachers. They come from, schooling, administrators. So when he went full-time, he got a lot of kickback. He got a lot of criticism from his uncle and his family. But what did your dad tell you, dude? What did your dad tell you when you decided to drop out of college and go full-time in insurance? He gave you a kind of like an ultimatum, right? He said, if you don't do this, you got to go back to school. So why don't you hit on that?
Yeah. So first of all, I got great parents. My parents believe in me and they support me. I love them. Yeah, they're awesome. But when I told my dad I was dropping school, he said, no, you're not. Like that. He just said, no, you're not. You're not dropping school. I was very confident and assertive. So, my decision was made. I dropped school, and he was like, "All right, you can drop school, but you gotta do one of two things. If you don't make $50,000 at least next year, you're going right back to school." So I said, "Okay, that should be simple. Do insurance, make $50K, okay." So that was his ultimatum. He was like, "Hey, if you're making money, cool. If you're not making money, you're going right back to school." So with FFL, as you guys know, $50,000 is cake. It's clockwork. 50K is like that's 2 months, or that's one good month, right?
Yeah.
If you're just lollygagging, it's 3 months, right? But it's simple. With here at the FFL, just come in here, work consistent, work the system.
What does he say now, though? What does your dad say now?
It's funny. My dad's cool. He's really cool, but I just
what did he tell your uncle the other day? Or something like that. Remember, he said something about he was telling your uncle, "Hey, tell him how much you made," or something like that. What was it?
Yeah. So they're proud of me now. They're proud. I just showed my dad my biggest week, and it was $10,000 or something like that. And my dad, he doesn't show a lot of emotion, but he was just on his computer at the house, and I showed him my biggest week, and he was like, "Yeah, good job." That's it. He said, "Good job. Yeah, do it again." But no, he's proud of me. When we go to family gatherings and functions and stuff, he'll tell my uncles. They'll be talking about money, or they're talking about business or something, and he'll call me. He'll be like, "Hey, Matt, hey, tell your uncles how much money we're gonna make this year. How much money did you make last month?" I was like, "Chill, Dad. We're humble.
That's beautiful.
We're humble.
That's awesome.
And Matt, how old are you?
12. How old are you?
I look 18, right? No, I just turned 23 a couple days ago on the 20th of March, like a week ago.
Nice.
Yeah.
Happy belated. Well, I'm super excited. Matt, what if somebody wants to work with you? What's the best way they can get a hold of you?
You can give me a call. You can reach me at 661-337-8359.
Perfect. Do you have an Instagram?
Yeah, you can DM me. It's Matt Garza __ 2 underscores.
Perfect. And then what
Yeah.
about yourself, Juan? If somebody wants to work with you, what's the best way to get a hold of you?
Yeah, you could text me, call me. My contact number is going to be 661-709-0810. And also you could find me on Instagram, Juan Herrera Official.
Perfect. Awesome. And what
Nice.
about yourself, Marco? If anybody wants to come in and build a big agency with you guys, what's the best way to get a hold of you?
661-304-8352. And on Instagram, it's Marco Trujillo 96. And you can follow me there.
Perfect. Well, guys, I'm so excited for you guys to listen and apply that little nugget that Juan gave you guys while you guys are in the home. If you're having any issues with your clients and giving you their routing and account number, take that, go back and rewatch the video. Make sure you guys are applying it. And as always, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you guys in the next video.